Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Football Exponential Podcast. And it's with great pleasure today. I can announce that we've agreed personal terms with our Spanish correspondent for two podcast appearance this week. So we're going to be covering the pre-match discussions about regarding the Classico and the post-match reactions as well. So we have you signed to that contract. We expect you there, regardless of the results. And at the same time, I might not be there, depending how that result goes. So
But
just
I
to get
think
out
I
there.
think I think the clause of the contract includes both of our appearances, so that will be fun. But again, it's always good to be back on the show, and thanks everyone for all the support.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think we've had to. It's funny how it's worked because I know you're a very busy man, and we had to get your thoughts about Barcelona and Real Madrid heading into the biggest fixture in the European calendar, domestic calendar. And I was so lucky to have you today, and because I have a lot of questions I need to ask regarding Barca and Real Madrid. But just a little warm up. How you doing? How's been the start to the season for you?
I've been doing good. The start of the season has been a bit up and down, not as
Yeah.
alarm sounding as a lot of people make it out to be. But when you get used to having such an impressive run of results leading to the title last season, you almost get accustomed to the feeling of winning. And when you get anything beneath that, it always feels like there's a panic bell going around. Although that does not dispute the fact that there are some issues that needs to be addressed on the squad, for both Barca and Real Madrid respectively. But again, just given the appetite a lot of Barcelona fans parade themselves with lately, it's more of a concern when you drop a point. In this case, drop two, and for Barca right now, drop 5 points in the league. It's already too much for game week 10
Yeah.
or game week 9.
Yeah, and as luck will have it, we're recording this before the 10th game of the season in the Spanish
Yes.
sorry, in Spanish league. And I always feel like that is always like a good marker of how the season is going. Like you get to 10 games, then you can see how the season can pan out if all is well or there's cause for some worries, and how your team basically just looks good for the rest of the season. So I think that 10 games into the season is a good marker, and the and how your form is after the last international break in November, because that's where, like, for in the English football as well, that's where it gets really busy from November to the new year. But with Barcelona and Real Madrid, let's just start. What have you made of Barcelona's start to the season so far? Nine games played in the Spanish league. That's 7 wins, one draw, one loss, and 2 wins in the Champions League, and one big defeat at home to current Champions League holders Paris Saint Germain. Wow. So how have you seen it?
First of all, I like to see the smile in your face, although it never means good news for Barcelona, but I hope it runs down very quickly, runs dry,
Even if,
like it was last season.
even if
But
even if I lose, I can't lose.
yeah, but on a more serious note with the Barcelona season so far. Some of the games they've been underwhelming. I'm talking about Barcelona. They haven't really converted at the same rate at which they do. I think if the statistics is correct, they're one of the teams, if not in the whole of Europe, that has missed more chances, unexpected
Okay.
goals conversion, and courtesy of our friend Dani almost.
Did you
He
say did you just say Danny almost?
Yes, I said Danny almost, and I said that with as much
That's
confidence. But I
that's a
hope
good
the
that's a good slander name. Danny almost.
I hope the injury does him a number and he comes back and is able to get back to the form that we saw last season, and where he would bury those chances in a heartbeat. But this season he's been a culprit, has been one of those that have missed some kind of unbelievable chances. We also look at Lewandowski. I think in one of those games, I think it was Real Sociedad or something. He missed
Yeah,
an
the rest
open
of that.
sitter,
Yeah.
and those goals changes the momentum of the game. We've also seen Lewandowski miss a penalty against Sevilla for a club that doesn't have enough penalty, and we spend a lot of time bantering as to why the other club has more, and you have a few and you don't convert. Those things boil into those things boil into the overall perspective of your season. But the biggest elephant in the room here is the defense. The defense has been abysmal for at best. There's been a lack of chemistry with respect to the centre backs. I think again, keep me honest by checking the stats, but the last time I checked, I think as of March the 8th,
Match the nine.
No, as of March the 8th, Hansi Flick has used different centre back pairing all through.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, starting with different centre backs, and that in itself can be a bit, let's just say
It's it's unsettling, like
it's on,
because I also think it's not just the centre back play. I think it's also the combinations at the left back, right back situation as well. Because Eric Garcia has come in a few times for Kunde. I don't know what's
yeah.
happened to Kunde. I don't know what's happened to Kunde this season.
We'll get to him. It's another brother that
We
needs
get
to be spoken to, but we'll get to him. There's been a drop in
yeah.
form. There's been a lack of
Is it
consistency.
is it
Even the
too
game
is it
against Girona is just
okay? And also with the injuries to your new number one goalkeeper, um,
yes, Jean Garcia.
John Garcia, who to me I think he's been up until the injury he's been a really good sign for Barca,
Yeah,
and I think there was a lot of drama pertaining to that particular position because they had the whole test again debacle with the club
mm-hmm,
and
hmm
and all that and the registration of this player. But I think Joan Garcia has been a big miss, particularly in the big games. Like you miss that commanding presence in goal.
absolutely.
Not to say Szczesny is okay, but at the end of the day, he's a backup goalkeeper for a reason. He has his limitations, and those limitations they bear their head in the big games, like particularly the 3-1 defeat against Paris Saint-Germain at home.
No, it wasn't
So
3-1.
oh, it wasn't 3-1.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. It felt like 3-1 to me. So
Well,
I don't know. It felt like 3-1. So yeah, we'll go with
thankfully, feelings don't count in football, but it's
well,
2-1 on the scoreboard. It was a narrow defeat.
well. Okay, that's fair. If you say narrow, and we've talked about one of your few summer recruits, John Garcia. Let's talk about the other new face in Barcelona, and that's my guy Rashford. Is
Uh,
he has he hit the heights you expected him to hit, or has he gone over and beyond what you expected so far?
The funny thing is, like, Rashford is still warming up, and I say that because I need people to know that he's still warming up. He's not there yet. When you look at the numbers, yes, it's good. When you look at the chemistry on the pitch, he's improving. But when you look at the ability of what Rashford can bring individually to that squad, you see that he's still warming up. There's still potentials for him to do way more than he's doing. I think his conversion will increase over time. You can see the breath of relief when he scored, I think, the absolute cracker with Newcastle, the second goal.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
was when the floodgates of confidence started to roll in. Like you can even see the pass to Ferran Torres for the PSG goal. That is you starting to get into the Barcelona system. And then you take on that form even into a very poor game for Barcelona against Sevilla, and you're still able um to at least deliver the goal with a very neat sublime finish. I think a one-time smash into the left, the left of the goal, and that was really Rashford warming up. The game against Olympiacos, as much as it's a good result, 6-1 for Barcelona, but I would say hold your horses, Barca fans. This is not the time to get into the we're back move. Because again, I feel like the refereeing was awful to say the least. The red card
A,
showed against the
a bad
Olympiacos.
a bad refereeing performance that favors Barcelona in a UEFA game. Color me surprised. Where have we seen that before?
Oh yeah, we've seen it the other way around as well. We've seen so many awful refereeing go against Barcelona. But the thing is this, right? And
Well,
why this one is absolutely disgusting for an Olympiacos fan. I think Barca would have gone on to win the game, maybe not 6-1. But I
but
also
they
feel
were
like the momentum was getting higher and higher
yeah.
for Olympiacos. And for me, I would have rather we faced that test. I would have rather that Barcelona navigated that match with 11 men and know exactly where we were in terms of our road back, as opposed to, getting a little bit of help with that guy being sent off. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but
Well,
that being said, some of the goals, right? It wouldn't matter if you're 11 or even more on the pitch. Those finishing were absolute cracker, like the one from Fermin Lopez. Like it doesn't matter how many players on the pitch. The same goes to Rashford's goals. Like I don't think the number of players on the pitch would have made too much impact there. But maybe leading on to the pass, maybe leading on to the chance created, it could be a different thing. But that moment in itself to combat, which is what I want us to focus on a little bit for Barcelona, because that's why we've had results that haven't gone our way. That's why we've had the draw, I think, against Rayo Vallecano. That's why we've had the defeat against Sevilla. We
Sevilla.
weren't converting chances, right? Like take for example, Lewandowski scores that penalty, it's 2-2. The momentum changes. You never know from there. If nothing else, you have your the wager will be on Barca to go on and get all 3 points like they've normally done in a lot of games where they've gone behind. But you don't convert, you don't take those chances, and it changes thereon. Um, the Arroyo goal for Girona, for me, I would say, is particularly the changing point for what we might be seeing from Barcelona in the next couple of games.
Okay.
That Girona game ends in a draw. The momentum is flat. The morale is down. The team gets in the point where they have to dig themselves off a bad patch. And imagine, just imagine, in that kind of scenario, Barca goes 2-1 against Olympiacos. Doubt will be everywhere. Right, so getting those 3 points may prove vital, and leading on to their Classico, I think that is going to give Barca the propelling energy to go after a victory for that game, which I think they will get. By the way,
Okay.
I see Madrid.
Come. Let's
We'll
we're
get
building it. We're
we'll
getting there.
get
We
we'll
get
get there.
we'll
We'll
get into we'll
definitely
get to this we'll get to the stick and potatoes of this discussion. Don't worry, we'll get there.
Exactly. So, but I
So
think I think that's the momentum that Barca fans need to ride on right now. And when I'm being fans, I'm not talking about just me and someone else who might be 1,000 feet away from the stadium. I'm talking about the locals who could travel
the
with
social the
the
socials.
socials, those who could travel on the bus or plane or wherever that can be in the stadium. I mean, for some of us too, who can occasionally make it there, this is the energy we take to the stadium and make our presence felt in the Bernabeu, which I consider more of a home than an away stadium these days.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And I have here. So far this season, who do you think have been your favorite or your standard players for Barca this season?
Um, Bar the injury to Jean Garcia, I think is absolutely my number one pick for that. I think not just for Barcelona, I think he's the best signing of the season in La Liga so far. Um, Personally,
Uh, yeah,
because
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
because when you look at his performance, I keep saying he's almost flawless. Besides the goal, I think against the newly promoted Real Oviedo, besides that error, he has almost done nothing wrong in as much game as he has played. Now, there's that break in the momentum. I think Shirley is doing a job. I've not really been able to point a lot of errors from him, but again, when you have someone who's just a level above Angel Garcia, then you can expect a little more security. You can expect a little more composure from the back. You can even expect that if the back fluffs the line, you have a keeper that can still keep you in the game. But unfortunately, Barca will be going into a Classico without any of that. But now
And the second number two.
number two will
So
be Rashford, and is a close second. Is a really close second because Rashford has overperformed. As a matter of fact, Rashford is living a statement that can build up an argument that Rafinha is good, but he's not all that special. And
well,
it could be,
wait,
yeah,
wait,
Rashford.
no, wait, wait,
Rashford
wait, 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 wait. I need to say that again so I can clip it. Say it again, please.
Rashford performance is living up to a build up that can make people argue that Rafinha is good, but he's not all that special. And
Wow,
let me put some meat to that conversation. Mind you, I don't necessarily think that Rafinha is not special, just to have that on record as
I
well.
don't.
I think Rafinha is special. I think Rafinha is a very important player. I think Rafinha has shown what resilience could mean like from a personal point of view and bringing it into
Yeah,
any career that you decide to even you even ply your trade in. But when we talk about pure footballing terms and what the left wing means for Barcelona, right? These are numbers that Rashford couldn't even put together in his home club in United, right? And he comes into a system that right now I think is not running at full steam because of other missing pieces, but he's contributing. I think his goal and assist contribution for Barcelona alone this season is probably around 9 or 10 if you combine his goal and assist. I don't know the stats by heart, but I think those numbers are looking really good. And it's not just about the numbers, it's his interpretation of space. He's starting to apply himself a lot more. He's starting to put pressure on opposition, something that he wasn't really doing at the start of the season, and something that we all that symbolizes how Rafinha plays the game as well. Those never-ending runs in behind and all those kind of things. And I think that his teammates are starting to trust him a bit more. Pedri finding the passes, De Jong finding the passes as well. That's something that, with Rafinha, you barely need to look up. You know he's gonna be there, and you can ping that pass, Kunde, whoever it is, and Rafinha will be onto it. But for Rashford, he's the better, arguably, he's a better striker of the ball. Even though Rafinha, yeah,
than Rafinha. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
even though.
more creative as well than Rafinha. Would you
Well,
say?
the creativity is debatable because, well, with Rafinha, there is obviously more chemistry from playing with the same bunch
Yeah,
of players
obviously.
compared to Rashford. But you can see those, how do I put it, those give and go, those interchanging passes, those fluidity. You can see a little bit more from Rafinha there. But in terms of, and you've seen Rashford try it as well. Some of it hasn't come off. Some of it he moves a bit too soon, or the player reacts a bit
Yeah,
too slow, but you can see the intention is there. You can see it's building up. But in terms of look at the two goals against Olympiacos. Those finishes were just Rashford, like
it was good.
near post, give the keeper an eye. And again, he's been coming closer and closer and closer with the free kicks, hitting the crossbar a few times this season as well. I think when everything starts to align in his favor, you're gonna see more Rashford goals, and then you would understand why I think he's just warming up. He's not there yet.
Okay, and the last player that's your standout player for Barca so far.
My last standout player, I mean, well, Barca only did three signings last season.
No, no, no,
Uh,
no, 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 no. When I say I say standout performer, not just signings.
oh, so yeah, yeah, and standard has standout performer. Obviously, I can't miss Pedri. Pedri has been
Okay,
him. It's been him since last season. He's been him this season. I think he's looking a little bit rough around the edges in the last couple of games. Maybe his
he
legs are starting to
looks,
tire out a
he
little
looks,
bit. He's
he
looking
looks knackered.
fatigued.
Yeah,
Was looking a bit
yeah,
fatigued. So I'm so thankful that after the Real Madrid game, I think Barca has a whole week before they play Elche. These days, every 3, 4, 5 days of rest counts for something. And
yeah.
I think then they host Elche at home, so there'll be less traveling. So like a good week of rest could help. But first of all, he needs to get past the El Clasico, and he needs to give us those performances that we've gotten so used to help dominate games.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And so just to add on Rafinha, because again, you know my opinions about on Rafinha. I think he's a good player, but I don't particularly put him up there with the best of the rest. But I also feel particularly with the way Barca set up, but with the press from the front, I think he's that guy that leads it. He's the guy that's in this iteration of Barca system under Hansi Flick with the highlight and all that. I think Rafinha is as important as any other Barca player. And I,
Absolutely.
and and whenever he's not there, you can notice it's quite noticeable how the press falls apart. Be
True.
it because it's not just Rafinha, but there's also been a revolving cast of players. Like it's been Torres sometimes, it's been those young kids, Drew Fernandez and the brother, I think.
Yeah.
Yamal's been in and out for a few times this season, so it's been a very it's tough to keep that same compact shape when you have players in and out as Barca have had. But with that in mind, what do you think? What do you make of Barcelona's defensive issues or perceived defensive issues? Do you think it's a worry, or do you think it's overblown, or do you think it's something that could really, really hurt Barcelona this season, and particularly in the big game to come?
I think it's somewhere in the middle, and to be very frank, why I say somewhere in the middle, because it could become a real worry if things are not sorted out very quickly. Um,
Yeah,
and right now, I think it's a bit of a worry because I think even Hansi Flick himself is still figuring out who the ideal pairing should be. Now
partnership.
we know that if everybody is fit, Koundé, Balde should start. But even Koundé, if he continues at the momentum that he has in the last two, 3 games, I don't see why Eric Garcia won't get more games there. Because especially given that.
On Kunde, on Kunde, are you saying more less fashion shows and more time on the grass?
I just think whatever he did last season, just do it again. If it was more fashion show and less time on the grass that got you last season, do it again, my brother. Whatever it is that he did last season, just do it again.
Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Because he's a very he's a very expressive player with his fashion taste, which I love, which is good to see. But when things are not going quite well for you, people will ask those questions. Not us, but I think that's where people go. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like you mentioned, Barca's ideal partnership in defense or Hansi Flick's
hmm
ideal partnership in defense. What do you if say on a day where everyone is available? What is your ideal defensive partnership? Two centre backs.
Ah, sincerely, I would like to see a Kubasi and Christiansen partnership. Um, and
Okay.
just because I feel like on that squad, Christiansen is the closest to Inigo Martinez that we lost in terms of
Yeah,
footballing
a big miss, a
abilities.
big miss.
Yes, in terms of footballing activities, abilities, although you can argue that Christensen is nowhere as aggressive as Martinez
Yeah.
is, maybe not even as fast as Martinez was, despite the age, right? But Christensen has a good understanding of the ball. He's a lot more experienced in comparison to other defenders there. He's taller, he's has more of the frames, he can defend the corner, he can defend the box even more. Um and his interpretation of the game would allow Kubasi to be
Kubasi.
more expressive with finding the long passes. And Christensen too has a shot in him. He has a good cracker of a shot in him when he has to play those shots.
Yeah,
He's scored a couple of goals
it's a
there,
good,
and he's a good passer of the ball too. So
yeah.
I think the only problem is that he spends a lot of time in the hospital as well. So we need him fit to allow that partnership to grow. But I think in an ideal slate,
Okay.
we are not able to sign in more defenders. I think Eric Garcia and Christensen pairing could be something that could recreate close to what we had last
Okay.
season.
Okay. So and just heading into the big game, the Classico. Who would you like to see as the defensive partnership in that game? Because I know there's been a lot of mixing, and I think particularly in the big game against Paris Saint-Germain, the 2-1 defeat for Barcelona
Mhm,
at home. It was Kubasi and Eric Garcia. I think and
mhm.
Eric Garcia so far has been one of Barcelona's unsung heroes this season, covering a right back, centre back, sometimes in midfield, sometimes coming up with a goal when needed. I think he has an important role in this Barcelona squad, but I don't see him as a starting centre back. Do you?
No, I also don't see Eric Garcia as a centre back. To be honest, I see him more as what Nacho was for Madrid, where you could go in and do the
Okay,
job everywhere,
a job.
right? When he
Yeah,
needs to play in centre back, he, you don't get less than a seven wherever he plays, right? In terms
yeah.
of his footballing ability. But in a game like El Clasico, I don't think he should be starting the center back. And the reason why I say that is because you're going to play against very mobile forward. You're going to play against one of the strikers who are in the
Physicality. Yeah,
yeah, you're playing with a striker that's probably in the form of
yeah.
his entire career. Um, And then is they have a lot of pace to run behind, and they have a lot more physicality in terms of, matching up pound for pound. So Eric Garcia, those are not his biggest strengths. He's not the fastest of players. He's not the most heavily built. Um, and also, we're playing away from home, right? So if you're playing at home, then you can say you
Yeah,
want to contain the press, you want to build from the back, you want to do all of those interesting things that make Barca what Barca ticks. But at home, away from home, in the Classico, I think there'll be moments where you need to defend for your lives. I think there'll be moments where you need to hold your back line very strong. I think there'll be moments where you need to contain pressure and most likely move a gear up or two. And Eric Garcia might not be able to significantly overcome such challenges. Except again, we're having Kubasi play the game of his life, which is another conversation because I don't think Kubasi has been the same form that he had last season. There's been a slight dip.
he's not been.
Yeah,
He's not been.
yeah.
And I also think part of the reason is the fact that with the departure of Inigo Martinez, has been moved
Hmm.
to the left side of the defensive pairing. And I
Hmm.
think that doesn't have the angles. I know some people wonder like it's as simple as you're moving across, you can make it happen. But I don't think the passing angles for him are not quite the same
Yeah.
particularly when he's on that right side and when he has that security of Kunde's physicality on that side of his pitch to help compensate for his lack of physicality. So what I'm getting from you is on Sunday it's a Kubasi and Arroyo partnership.
No, I think
That's
I
what you'd like
think
to see.
no. Well,
No?
what I'd like to see is different from the reality. So what I would like to see again, it would
So
be
let's so okay,
so
so let's
Christensen
say
is not
so like we
fit,
know for
right?
now.
Christensen is not fit, right?
Yeah,
I don't think
exactly.
he'll
So
be
let's
available for that game. So I think we would start with Eric Garcia and Kubasi. That is what I think we will start with,
okay.
right? Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason is this, right? And this is not knocking down Arroyo's ability as a defender, but I think he still needs to learn the ropes of this high line because Barca would always play the high line. It's guaranteed. Having Flick is not going to change that for anybody. We've seen
Yeah.
cases where there've been slight adjustment, even against Real Madrid in the Copa del Rey final. There was slight adjustment. The high line wasn't as high up, right? But
Okay.
we still expect that he would start that way, and yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, it's got to
Okay.
be Rigasi and Kubasi.
Okay. Okay. Good. 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 So over to the guys, the your immortal enemies. Um, Los Blancos.
Hmm.
What have you made of Alonso's starts to live at Real Madrid head coach?
Oh
Or
yeah,
and how have you seen the team develop under him
oh,
so far?
oh yeah. To be honest, it'd be hard for him to ask for a better start. I think just one defeat all through the season. I don't think he's dropped any other points. He's had 8 wins in 9 league games. He has 3 out of 3 in the Champions
Yeah,
League.
and yeah,
Like literally, you literally wouldn't ask for more, even though the defeat came against their derby rivals, which is
against
not, which is not, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's not a good
But
defeat either way you look
that
at it, but
was yeah, that was more than a defeat. That was you don't want to lose those games, but you don't want to lose to an Atletico Madrid team by 5 goals to 2. That's not very good.
exactly.
Like,
So that's
and
that's that's really
yeah,
bad. And to be fair, that you can argue to be one of their bigger games this season. And if you think about it, if you complain about the forms and the struggles and the inconsistency of Barca, Atletico Madrid have done worse in pure English terms. Um,
no. Just I think if we have time today, we'll get on our Let's Go Madrid session because I have,
mhm,
you know me,
mhm.
I'm leading
Yeah, let's
the
cook
Diego
Simeone.
Simeone out campaign. I've been leading it for the last for more than 2 years now. So, so let's save that. We'll get to that because I think we
Mm,
really need to talk about that if we have time
mhm.
today.
Yeah.
But like you said, like he's had a good start to the season, as good as you can ask for. But I think with him, it's it's with Real Madrid, clubs like Real Madrid, like one defeat is disaster. One
Yeah,
defeat against Atletico Madrid is almost the end of the world. And
yeah,
particularly if you add another bad result against Barcelona, that could that could be the end of Alonso's that could be a big red mark on his Real Madrid tenure. But I think with him, I think the big question is can his Real Madrid team win big games? And I know it's still early and it's still a small sample size, but we saw when they came up against the Paris Saint Germain in the Club World Cup, they got they were embarrassed on that day.
yeah.
I
It
think they
was a
lost by
4-0
four
or
goals to nil.
something. Yeah, yeah.
It could have been yeah funny. It could have been whatever PSG wanted it to be. And with this season, the biggest game they played so far, no disrespect to Italian giants Juventus, but the biggest game they played has been the Madrid derby, and on that day they did not turn up. And and I think what they had, what what they've had in those two games, particularly those two games in isolation, is they've lacked intensity when they've come up against a very good team, and I also feel the fit of certain players in that lineup has not helped the team, and that's Mbappe, Vini, and Jude situation. Because the defeat against Atletico Madrid was the first time all three started this season: Jude Bellingham,
Mm-hmm.
Mbappe, and Vinicius, and the performance wasn't good. So it's and that's because I think Mbappe has started this season. I think Mbappe is up there with Erling Haaland and Harry Kane as the three standout players in Europe this season.
Goal
Like
scorers.
all three have been amazing so far. But I think, yeah, goal scorers, and I think just even like Harry Kane is just more than a goal scorer. Even Mbappe is more than a goal scorer. I think they've been on fire for club and country so far. But with Madrid, how do you? Mbappe is on fire. I think Vini is finally getting back into the groove. Or we're seeing the best, be it in flashes. We're seeing the best of Vini again. But the question is, how do you get all three of them into a team in a big game and also not compromise the results? Because I think, as we say, Mbappe has been playing well, but I think one big factor with Mbappe's form has been Adegule. I think finally having a player that can find those passes into him, in behind where he likes to be, it's massive for him. It's massive for the team. I don't see how. For me, I think obviously Mbappe has to start. I think Vini has to start. This is with their Classico in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think Adegule has to start as well, and that brings the question: the big English, not well, so to speak, but the big English elephant in the room, and that's Jude Bellingham. What happens? How do you get him? How do you get him into? I know, like, I know you're smiling and you're this is conversations you like to have, but I struggle to see how you um you get Jude Adegula into that midfield, and at the same time still keep a bit of structure behind the attacking players. Because we saw on this past week, they played with all those guys at the same time, and they looked open to the counter attack against an average Juventus team that on another they could have scored a couple of goals on the counter attack. So I don't expect Alonso to be that open against Barcelona, and I don't know how you do it, because again one of Barca's biggest strengths is their midfield. That's the Young and Pedri situation. Are you expecting you to start the Classico, or do you see him coming off the bench, or how do you
Not after the
what's your
goal
view there?
against, not after the goal against Juventus would also have the pedigree
So you start.
he starts, absolutely. He starts. But my problem is this: when I look at the Madrid fan base and even the strategists speaking on behalf of Madrid talk about this being a problem, I don't see a problem. And the reason why I don't see a problem is because I see a manager who's trying to fit squares into circles. That's what I see, and I'll tell you this for free.
Squares into roundhouse,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and the reason why I say that is imagine Madrid goes in for a 4-2-3-1 formation. Let's do that, okay? Because I know that that's what they've played
Yeah,
more
four two
often
three
than
one. Yeah,
not, 4-2-3-1.
yeah.
So
That's yeah.
forget about what happens at the back. Let's just keep it from the midfield going forward. Tell me why
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wouldn't work. Tell me
Well,
why.
okay. Okay, no,
Forget
but
what happens. Forget what
no, but
happens on the
also for
back
what happens at the back.
for a reason, right? Imagine everybody's
But it
fit.
does. No,
Imagine.
no, it's just no, okay. Everybody's fit, but it's okay.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Everybody's fit. Yeah, yeah. I get you now. I get you now.
Let's even just walk it through the back. Let's just walk it for the sake of conversation through the back. Let's just
Yeah,
say, for right back,
yeah, yeah.
depending on the tactical flavor from
That's
Alonso, from depending on the tactical
that's an
flavor from
issue.
Alonso, he decides to play either Trent over Caballero because apparently both of them are fit to play their Classico now. That's what report says. So let's just say, let's not have too much headache as to his preference there. Trent or Cavalier for whatever reason, whichever one he selects, we go with that. Centre back, is it safe to say we would have Militar and Dean Hutchin? Let's just say that's the centre back pairing. Are you with me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Left back, Alvarez
I'm with you. I'm with
starts.
you.
Yeah, great. So now we go to
Yeah,
the.
yeah.
Are
Okay.
we okay with that? Obviously, Courtois is undisputed number one for them, right? Let's just say the back
Yeah,
is
cool.
okay.
Qatar is also. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think.
Le-
Yeah,
Let's just
yeah.
say the back is okay because the
Do you?
all these players
So
are open
you're
for
going.
selection.
You're going with.
So if I
I know, but you would you go with Trent over Cabral for the classical?
for this particular classical, I will start with Cavalier. And the reason why I will start with
Yeah.
Cavalier
Okay.
is because
That's
the reason why I'll start with Cavalier is because Rashford is cooking. Play somebody who you know understands the
okay.
pressure of the game. Two newbies, you're leaving it to whoever cooks more. This is Trent's first classical. This is Rashford's first classical. If I'm to put a gamble based
Yeah,
on
yeah,
fitness and form, I would say I play a guy who understands the classical. That's just the reason for this game,
yeah.
right? And
And
and then
and the club captain as well.
and the
So
club captain. So and then you put in your
yeah,
midfield. Absolutely no discussion required. Federico Valverde starts. Boom.
Valverde.
Starts. Yes,
Yeah.
that's one of the CDM position. I don't see why we can't have Mr. Jude play next to him. Why the confusion? Why can't
No,
Jude
no, you
play?
can't.
Why
No,
can't
no, no, you
Jude
can't. No, no,
play?
no, no. You can't. You can't. You
Uh,
can't. You
and
can't. You can't.
I'll tell you why. Jude plays next to Federico for a reason. He's good at tackling, he's good at circulating the
Yeah,
ball, he's good
yeah.
at joining in late runs into the box. Right, because imagine a situation where Madrid is in possession and the front four are closer to the goal. Jude has the whole space to look into and run into the area of threat. He's almost excellent with those
Yeah.
tappings. He arrives later at the box or earlier. He's excellent with those tappings. Give it to him. So for me, I don't see.
Important goals.
Yeah, I don't.
Important
Absolutely,
goals.
absolutely. Whatever you want to call it is okay.
Important.
But those goals from 5 yards, from 4 yards, like the one that ricochet off the post, and that's his forte. That's what
That's
he's
still.
come to do. Those are still important goals. He's still
They are still as.
so
They are still as important.
yes. But my point is, he doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be a CAM to score those goals, right? He just needs to be able to arrive at the box when his team have the momentum,
Yeah.
until they grind in. And then if you're playing against lesser oppositions, you can get a bit more cocky and you can play something more tricky or whatever the case might be. But putting Arda Güler on that pitch in a position that is not a CAM, you are playing a man down. Period. If you play him as a CDM, you are playing a man down there. He will get shoveled off the ball. If you play him on the flank, he is not rapid. He's not rapid, he's decent at best. Right? And you want to respect the chemistry he has with Mbappe right now. He is the most provider to Mbappe goals. He is. And also, it means that if he's ticking, your main man is probably most likely gonna tick. So why is there a headache in this triangle? There is no headache the way I look at it.
Okay.
Now, what
Okay.
I
But
see
then
is a
no, no.
manager. What I see is a manager that is being too careful to make bold calls. Just make it. What's the worst that can happen?
We've lost our Spanish correspondent. I think we'll give him a few minutes. He's probably going to jump back in. Just bear with us. Okay.
Is it back on?
Yeah, yeah, you're back. Yeah. So,
I'm trying to get
okay.
that filter thing to come.
Sorry for the technical issues. It's. I think who should we blame for? We should blame
It's our solution
one of those
provider.
tech. No, we should blame one of
Mhm,
those tech founders. They're messing up.
mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. So back to the discussion.
Yeah, so back to the discussion. I
Can you?
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's it. That's it.
perfect. Okay,
So
so
because again, like I see your sentiments when it comes to that midfield configuration, but the problem is particularly in this game against Barcelona. I think Alonso first will want to go for. I think it's quite safe to say you go for safety first. You try and pack out the midfield, and you let the guys in attack do the thing. But I think if you play with Valverde and Jude Bellingham as a midfield pair behind the number 10 in a Classico, that's problem. Because again, I think going long term, I think that should be Jude Bellingham's position long term. Because with the assortment of attacking players Madrid have that want to play in that position, I think as a number 10 creative player, Adegola is better than Jude Bellingham. I think that's safe to say. Like he will create it. He will create for the team. He will play make. He will do all those nice stuff for Jude Bellingham. Sorry for the attack, better than Jude Bellingham will at this moment in time. And that's also to add that Jude is just coming back from I think 4 months out with an injury, so he's still
is it
building up.
4 months? I don't think so.
Okay, however long, but it's been a long
Hmm.
time. So let's
Okay.
say, let's be conservative and say 3 months. So it's still building up. It's still building up, and I feel just because again, I think that's Adegula has worked at that number 10 position. Adegula, Mbappe, and Vini, those three have worked. Masmontano on the right wing has been. He's had good games, but he's not had an impact on the score sheet. But he's had good games.
We'll get to Mastantano. I have a
Masmontano,
lot to speak about him.
yeah, we'll get to. So is there a situation where you go with, and it seems Alonso loves Chomeni. Like I think Chomeni, whenever
Well,
he's
when
available,
the
he selects
desirable
him.
is not available, the available becomes the desirable. I don't think he love him. I think he's just available.
No, okay. Let's not say. I say he appreciates the aspects of his game off the ball that Chomeni brings to Real Madrid. I know I've also been overly critical of Chomeni's desire to play on the ball, his creativity, his control, the way he controls game from that position. I've been very critical, and I think that's where you need a goalie to take a bit of those burdens off Chomeni, or they could also be the reverse where you have Jude as the number 10, that free roam number 10, and you have Goulet and Valverde. But I also think that's a bit that will leave you open, particularly in the classical.
Goulet,
So,
Goulet and Valverde pairing at the base of the midfield against Barcelona, I promise you will be a disaster.
yeah. So again, I think for me, I think the obvious thing would be to go with what has worked, and Jude stays on the bench. That is Vinicius, Goulet, and Mascherano.
Um,
But being it Real Madrid, I think I'm sure when Alonso sends.
remind me what the English Football Association title is. Like how Nigeria has NFA, Argentina has
Yeah, yeah,
AFA. What is the English one again?
yeah. The English FA.
English FA. You're gonna see
Yeah.
a full press on Saturday
No, no,
evening, on Sunday evening, not even Monday morning. If Jude sits out this Classico for whatever reason,
because
uh,
it's not for whatever reason. It's just like at this moment in time, he's not. I'd rather have Jude come off the bench to have an impact off the bench than have him start and not play his best. Because I don't think he's playing his best. Because as we said, he's been injured for a long time and he's just coming back into this team.
oh, but he gave them the 3 point against Juventus. That's his
Yeah, he
best.
did. He did. But I
That's
don't
his,
think.
that's his best. That was
No, yeah,
prime Jude
no,
scoring
that's
tappings.
no, that's not prime Jude. Like now you're trying to take this conversation somewhere else, and I'm not
Scoring,
and I'm not go, and
scoring,
I'm not going to
scoring,
dodge you.
scoring
Enough.
tappings is prime
I'll stop
Jude.
you.
But
I'll
go
stop
on.
you there. I'll stop you there. I'm not going to indulge in this conversation you're trying to have. But again, as I was saying, but even like you said, okay, he scored a goal against Juventus. But if you look at the overall performance of that team, Alonso looked manic on the sideline. I don't think he was happy with that performance.
Yeah.
I think he knows if they play like that again against Barcelona, because again, let's not forget Courtois came in clutch a few times.
Yeah.
There were some amazing
Vlahovic
defensive.
was
Yeah.
disgustingly inefficient in that game.
Well,
He,
if
he,
you
he was good with the hold-up play. He was good with laying. Oh no, better. If Ferran Torres would score those chances, let's just put it into
yeah,
context.
exactly. So like you don't want to be in that situation where you end up 7 chances like that to a team like Barcelona, to the Rashford, to even the Fermin Lopez, those kind of Yamal. You don't want to give those space away. So I think the obvious thing we do is to keep Jude on the bench. But again, it's Real Madrid, Florentino Perez. I know when Alonso sends that team sheet to El Presidente and there's no Jude on that starting lineup, El Presidente was just going to take it out, cancel it, tell him go back and do it again. Because we all know, like I know this is allegedly, but we all know to an extent, I feel Perez has a bit of say on the team lineup, particularly in the big games when the world is watching.
He's the one
His Galacticos.
he's the one authorizing the wage bill. How do I
Yeah, I
buy
know. Yeah,
how do I have
I know.
how do I have a Bentley in my parking lot and you're driving a Corolla every
Exact,
week? It's not gonna work.
that's the same sentiment. He wants his pieces of world class pieces of art on show on the biggest stage. So I think in that situation, what then should happen should be, or what I expect should happen would be, you get Jude, Chomeni, Valverde if he doesn't start at right back, and you shoehorn Adegule at right wing. Or there's also another solution where you bring in the less favored Rodrigo, because you know Rodrigo is that guy like okay, I need you to work for the team. You do, and that's if Balde starts as well, because you need Balde is one of Barca's attacking threats from left back, so you need a guy that could compensate for him there. But again, I think Alonso has a lot of he has a lot to think about. But I also feel what Madrid cannot do is whatever happens, they cannot lose. They simply cannot lose. Like this is they lost 4 Classicos last season. Am I right in saying
That's
so?
correct. That's because we took away the preseason. If you do add the preseason, it was 5 your classical losses. But
Well,
anyways,
they don't
4 will
count.
do.
They don't count preseason matches as official matches. So
4 will
so
do. Well, you didn't say
so four.
official. You
So,
said matches.
okay,
But yeah.
okay. Well, yeah, you get the sentiment. So
hmm
4 official losses to Barcelona last season, and some of them were heavy defeats.
Some,
So, well, okay, a couple of them were heavy defeats.
just one wasn't heavy. Let's put things into
You're
perspective.
trying
Just one.
you're trying to be facetious right now. So, I think for a lot of Madristas, like with Madrid fans don't like. Let's be honest, they don't care about philosophy. They don't care about passes of play or gameplay or what is the idea. They don't care about idea ball. They care about
Results.
season starts. You win enough games. End of season. When it comes to May, you bring home a shiny trophy. That's what they care about, and their best players playing well. But one thing, if I think losing on a Classico and another Classico home defeat, for that matter, would be, I think for Real Madrid to be disastrous. Not just in terms of of course, the goal at hand, that's regaining the league title, but just the optics of it would be terrible. And it's almost a situation where I think with Barca going into this with a few injuries of their own, I think Rafinha has been officially ruled out.
No, I don't think it's officially ruled out. I think there's a chance that he might make
I
it,
am
but I
I
don't.
am I am officially ruling him out. So there's
I thought there was a player you didn't worry about. How come are
no
you
no
ruling
no
him out?
no 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 but no, but that's before we go on record. I just looked around to see get some information. Like I saw someone like he's officially ruled out. But again, that could change. So there's no Rafinha, there's no Lewandowski. There's still Yamal and Pedri, and I feel between those two guys, Yamal, Pedri, there's enough quality there to win this game for Barca. And I think that's where Barcelona's strengths lie. Those two guys particularly. I know there's been a lot of question about amongst Barca fans who's more important to the team. Who can the team do without between Pedri and Yamal? They are both great players. Both very good players. Great players in the making and all that. But I think this Barca team simply does not function without Pedri.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said
It's
it any better.
I think he's I
I
think
think
he's
he's the one
probably
guy that cannot be replaced, if I'm being very
yeah.
honest.
I think alongside Erling Haaland at Man City, obviously Mbappe and Real Madrid. I think those three are the three most important players to their respective teams around. I think
I
Madrid
think
don't function without it.
I think Harry Kane to Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I know, but I think, but the thing with Babnik is in the land where they're playing, I think they can still get
Yeah,
by with a hurricane
yeah.
in German Bundesliga. I'm talking about when it comes to champions, that's a different ball game. But I think even against your run of the mill teams in Spain, if there's no Pedri, even in the national international level, there's no Pedri there, nothing's happening. So I
Yeah.
think I think stopping Pedri will be essential, and obviously stopping Yamal. But again, I think it's an interesting game. I think this is a moment in the season where the entire football community comes to a standstill. This is the biggest game in the domestic calendar. Not talking about the Champions League, obviously, but I think across all the leagues, this is the biggest game. This is the fixture that everyone, whenever the fixtures are drawn in June or August, whenever they're made, everyone circles out this game, as that is a must-watch game for the season. And prediction time.
Well, just before we get there, there's a player that if I were Madrid, I'll be more worried that he made it in time.
Who? Who's that?
It's Fermin
Look,
Lopez.
yeah.
I'm making a bold call on this podcast because I want you to be referenced.
Let's
Fermin,
talk about
F
Femin. Let's
yeah,
talk about Femin. Talk about Femin.
yeah, because Fermin is going to be a lot of problem for the Madrid backline.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because with Fermin as a centre back, you don't know when to come off the line, and uh, if you do, and Rashford is playing the nine, you're in trouble because he has enough pace to get behind you. Um, with Fermin, if you sit too deep, he can shoot the ball.
Yeah.
That is something that all of Barcelona midfielder combined do not do enough.
Score goals.
Not just score goals, shoot outside the box, shoot
Okay.
anywhere the ball comes.
Okay.
Anywhere the ball comes, he can smash the shot. And the funny thing is this: if you look at the progression in Pedri's game recently, you see that he's starting to shoot outside the box a lot more, and he's getting some of those goals in here and there. But with Fermin, he's not the guy that creates a chance out of nowhere. He's a guy that converts what was not a chance.
Yeah. That's true. And I think to your credit, this has been a player that you've been beating the bandwagon. You've been championing for a long time. I've been a bit skeptical about his importance to this Barcelona team, but I think over the I'll say last last year or so, I've come to see what he brings to that Barca team. And I think, like you said, he brings goals. He's a very he's not a typical Barcelona midfielder. Like the archetype Barcelona midfielder
Mhm.
is the Pedri, like
Mhm.
the young. Those are the guys. But with him, I think he's like an Erling Haaland that plays in midfield. He knows how to get chances, and not just get chances, but he's finishing one touch, based with the left foot, right foot, headers. He knows his selection of finishes. He has a large variety of finishes in his arsenal,
Yeah.
and I think that those kind of players are always. I have a lot of love for those kind of players. And again, this week he became the first Spanish player to score a hat trick for Barcelona in the Champions League, which in itself is an astounding record to have. But that's good. And again, the more I watch him, and with Barcelona's situation with having to replace Lewandowski in the near future, I can't help but feel like, can Femin become a striker at Barcelona?
I don't want that for him, to be honest.
No, no, listen, no, hear me out. No,
Mhm.
wait. Hear me out.
Mhm.
Because he's shown he can score goals. We know that for a fact.
Mhm.
He can score all types of goals. He's shown that,
Mhm. Yes.
and we've seen Barcelona be successful, although be it's with one of the greatest players to ever play football, Messi. But we've also seen teams like Paris Saint Germain recently, Man City a few years ago with Ilkay Gundogan and De Bruyne as those guys playing in around the box, scoring goals. I think again, I don't know what Barca's we don't know what Barca's financial situation would be in the next summer transfer window if they can actually go out there and spend real money on a real striker. At this moment, it's quite doubtful. But I think if they can't, and if they had to just like get and just a physical body, like a guy that's just not a top striker, I think Barca will do well to find a better alternative than Femi Lopez when it comes to goal scoring. But again, that's just because I think he's not a playmaker per se.
No,
Well,
the thing is, we can stay stuck to the goals that Femin brings, which is amazing. But that is not
yeah.
what impresses me the most about his game.
What impresses you?
Is the intensity of the press.
But that's exactly because like
It
we
is
said,
the,
with
is
Bas
the intensity of the press and the intelligence while applying the press. Now, I'll give you two players as an example. Um,
false nine.
yes, I'll give you two.
No,
No, I'm not even saying whether or not because the reason why I don't want Femin to be a nine or false nine or anything of that region that takes him up the pitch is that we're going to lose a lot of grounds in the mid area. That's why, not because of his inability to perform as a
no,
nine
no,
or a
no, no,
false nine.
no. Then you play. Then again, you're playing with Danny almost.
That's the problem. You see, that is the problem right there. See,
Or
except Danny Olmo put, and to be honest, like
almost, Danny almost, Danny almost.
except Danny Olmo changes, which I think he will, because he's that good of a player. He has all the abilities. He's gonna come around, right? But
Okay, yeah,
if not, his position is the least that I worry for because
okay,
Drew Fernandez, Tony Fernandez, those guys are really knocking at the door.
okay.
Further
So
slip
okay,
up, it can easily be replaced. But the problem is with Femin, right? He has the ability to press. And when I mean press, diagonal press, horizontal
yeah,
press,
exactly.
every
He has the legs.
all
He
form
has the
of it.
legs.
So
And
he has the legs, he has the agility, and he applies a lot of wisdom when pressing. If you want, you can look at the clip against Bayern Munich last
this,
season.
I don't, I agree. Like this is just like you're just going off a lot more reasons why I feel it makes rather than just it makes a lot of sense for him to be guy leading Barca's attack, not just from a goal scoring perspective, but also from an off the ball duty role where is one leading the press. And we've talked about Barcelona's inefficiency to be a fully a fully formed pressing team because of a few injuries and all that.
Mhm.
But if you get like if Rafinha is healthy again, plays on the left, you got Fernandez, you got Yamal. Between those two, Rafinha and Femin, they'll do a lot of running off the ball, and at the same time, they score goals.
They do.
They score goals. So when you have creators like Yamal on one side, Bardi on the left side, and the Pedri in the middle, so that's I think there's a lot there to make you work. And I think if there's any manager that can think outside the box and trust players in unfamiliar positions, I think it's Hansi Flick.
Massively, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it will be. I think we'll keep an eye for that. But like I said, last before we go, I need your prediction for the Classico. Starting with your preferred lineup, like
Okay.
with preferred lineup for with the information we have right now, we're going with Rafinha is available to start. Christensen's missing, no Lewandowski. Your preferred lineup and your prediction for the game.
Okay, so I'll start with Madrid. Preferred lineup, Courtois, I think they will start with Cavaya, um, Militao, Dean Hodgson, and Alvarez. Midfield, I think it'll be Federico, Arda Güler, and Jude.
Okay.
Um, for forward, I think it will be Vinicius, Mbappe, and Mastatouano.
Okay.
But that's what I think the starting 11 would be. For Barca, I think it would be Chesney, it would be Koundé, Kubasi, Eric Garcia, and Balde.
Okay.
Midfield would be Frankie, Pedri, Fermin. Attack would be Yamal, Rashford, and
Ferran.
that's where it gets tricky, and Ferran
It's
probably.
Ferran. Okay, but again, like hear me out. Let's say I don't think Ferran. I don't think Ferran Torres can. Even if he's available, I think he'll probably be a role off the bench.
I think he'll start.
Yeah, but again, let's assume he's not. Again, because I'm trying to push my Fermin Lopez um first nine propaganda. So how about you go with the young Pedri, Casado midfield combination,
Uh-huh.
Fermin Lopez as the number nine, first nine, number 10, Rashford, Yamal. Thereby, you get in a way you allow Pedri have more license across the pitch. He can go into forward positions and hopefully probably get a tap in that you hate so much. And but again, like he brings that like his creativity can be felt from everywhere across the pitch. But when you play him in that position, he has license to go from zone to zone across the pitch without having to worry about his defensive responsibilities. I think you can unlock a new side to that Barcelona because I feel because whenever I watch Barcelona, I feel most times I don't see that combination between. I could be wrong, but I don't see that combination between him and Yamal that much.
Oh, and Yamal.
Pedri and Yamal, like the way they find each other, like again, like the Xavi, Iniesta, Messi triangle where they were
Yeah.
always rotating, they were always moving, they were always looking for each other. I don't
The-
think I see that. Or am I wrong in saying that, or is it?
No, you're not wrong, but I think that combination happens much more earlier in the build-up, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Pedri is the guy that floats the ball over to the flank for Yamal to progress forward, and at that point, Yamal now has more options of the Rafinha or maybe the Rashford or Levy or Ferran, all those kind of guys, and then
Yeah.
and or even Kunde before, like Yamal passing the ball to Pedri more often than not would be a cutback, and we don't see a lot of that. So,
Okay.
but just
Okay.
let's assume that your agenda is worth evaluating, right? Even if
It's
you
not.
have
It's not an agenda because
no,
I
no,
think it's
okay,
more.
your
It's
proposal.
a propaganda. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, your propaganda,
Yeah.
assuming, yeah, thanks for the right choice. So let's assume your propaganda was somehow being evaluated. I still
Yeah.
think Femin would most likely play as a left winger than
Yeah,
a central
then.
forward because because
Mm,
in an option where maybe he wants to drop Ferran Torres, he doesn't want to start Ferran Torres for whatever reason, Rashford is going to be the second guy to play as number nine, even before you think
okay.
of Ferran.
Okay. Okay. Good stuff. And your final prediction for the game?
My final prediction will be a 4-3. Um, right.
4-3.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna see a defensive disaster class. Both teams are
Well,
gonna be very
well,
nonsensical at the back.
I think a 4-3 will be a hell of a time to watch. But again, a 4-3. To who? Just for the record. Just for the record. A 4-3.
To
The 4-3
Barcelona.
to
For
Barcelona.
victory
Okay.
to
Okay.
Barcelona. And I think Mbappe gets 2 goals. Um,
Okay. As again has I can't remember. Has there been a goalless Classico in the league or cup games? I can't
not in
I can't
recent time. Not in
I can't remember
recent
I
time.
can't remember a goalless Classico. I think this is a game that always promises and delivers on
On
high quality
goals.
goals.
Yeah, not in
But
recent times, but yeah, 4-3.
for me, I'm gonna go 3-1 Barcelona, 3-1 Real Madrid.
The world heard you first. 3-1. Okay.
I said I'm going for 3-1 Real Madrid.
Okay.
Mbappe and Vinicius turn up, and they dispatch Barcelona. Well, again, and just yeah, I have a question for you just before we go. A nice juicy question. Um, we talked about Erling Haaland, Mbappe, and Kane, and their amazing start to the season. Amazing start to the season so far. So we're gonna play a little game. Start, bench, sell.
I'm starting Kane all day long.
You're starting Kane.
He
Okay.
offers goals, he offers assists.
Okay.
Bench and sell. Can you remind me what Erling Haaland's stats looks like?
A lot of goals.
No, I think
A lot.
all three of them
No,
have
no,
lots
no,
of
no,
goals.
no. I think for club, I think because his numbers for country is also he swears it a bit. I think he has like whatever like about 8 goals for the Norwegian national team.
Mhm.
I think he has about 22 goals all competitions so far, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. Yeah.
Because um, the truth is, Mbappe's goals has made more difference from the way I look at it. But I need to examine it closely in the sense
Yeah.
that,
Well, just no, just play along, right? Like
yeah,
start Kane.
yeah, I'm
I
starting
think
Kane
the
undisputed, right? So now
yeah.
I'm turning between finding a reason to bench one over selling the other because
Yeah.
at
There's
this
no
point,
and again, I don't think there's no wrong or right answer here.
yes, yes,
We're splitting hairs.
yeah, but I just kind of want empirical decision points, right? That's what I'm
Well,
thinking about because either of them, it could be fair and
it's
unfair.
again
It depends on what I'm
it's
looking at.
yeah, I know it's a quick fire question, so I need a quick
Uh, I would, I
fire
would,
answer.
I would, I would go. I would, I would bench Erling. I'll sell Mbappe.
You sell Mbappe, okay,
Mhm.
that's interesting, and that has nothing to do with him playing for Real Madrid, right?
Because the thing is, why? No, no, not necessarily. To be honest, if there's a Madrid player that I would like in Barca right now, it would be Mbappe. Just on the record, right? If there's any, but the reason why I would sell him in this case is because Ellen is scoring a lot
Okay,
of goals. He's scoring a lot of goals. None of them do a lot in terms of team play and build up and all those assists. They don't give
yeah,
too much. So
yeah, and just another question that just came like who's I think sometimes you ask who's the best striker and who's the best player. They are almost two different questions at the same
they are
time. You
different
understand what I'm
questions.
saying?
They are very different
So,
questions.
I think like who's the best goal scorer here
In
out
all
of those
three
three?
of them,
Yeah,
goal scorer is Ellen.
quick fire. Yeah, Erling Haaland. Who's the
Ellen is,
best player? Who's the best player amongst those three?
there might be a longevity bias, so I'll go with Kane.
Hmm? Kane is the best player.
Yeah.
Okay, because I feel Erling Haaland is obviously the best goal scorer on out of those three. Kane is the best striker there, and I think Mbappe is the best player.
But the problem is when you talk about goal scorer and you talk about striker, the job of a
No,
striker is to score goals.
not because not necessarily so. I know obviously, like of course, this three they all score goals.
No, yeah.
Some Mbappe scored 40 goals last season.
Mm-hmm,
Like they all score goals. Like there's
mm-hmm.
no. I think if you look at that tally of goals,
Because I'm
and
looking at the season where they're all fit.
yeah, exactly.
For
No,
example,
I'm looking
Mbappe might have
across. I'm
scored
looking
for their career as well.
across
So
this
it's
like a large sample
yeah,
size
yeah,
for club country. I
yeah,
know they've all played in different leagues and all that, but I'm looking at the
yeah.
large sample size and what they're able to do. I think Erling Haaland will, all things being equal, will outscore both of them. I'm quite
I
confident to
agree.
say Erling Haaland outscores both of them. But I think Kane as an all-round striker, like a striker that can create, can hold up, can score with his left foot, right foot, score
Header,
some headed goals.
everything is much
I
more
think that's
complete.
him. But I think the better player is Mbappe because Mbappe is. I think Mbappe can play anywhere across that front line. He's shown he can play anywhere across that front line. He's adapted to playing as the number 9 in the last few years. After starting off as again, let's not forget this is a guy that won a World Cup playing on the right wing with the national team. Then moved to Paris Saint-Germain, played on the left wing. Now with Madrid, he's scoring goals as a number 9. And I think like even visually when you watch again, this is we're not knocking any of these guys on this list.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think
No, no.
this
Like
like
whichever option anybody goes for is
yeah,
valid.
there's no and
But,
to be I think it would be good to get everyone get some more opinions
yeah.
on this because I
But
think
for me, it's hard to argue against Kane being a better player because this is a Kane that did all he did with the Tottenham team. You
but
don't
that
have
doesn't
the
make you a better
same
player though.
you don't have the same cast. You don't have the same support system. And yet you carried that team
Which is true, which is
year
true.
out with impressive numbers. Imagine being in Tottenham and always in contention for the top goal scorer in the Premier League. For whenever you go to Europe, you still try. You take the team sometimes all the way to the semi-finals, even to a final. Like,
Okay.
no,
Yeah, that's a good, like, again, like even like
yeah,
Champions League final.
yes, it's been to that.
It's been
Like,
to
and if
yeah
you think
that.
about it, Mbappe for all he has done has been in one Champions League final only, right?
But yeah, no, but
But again, he's the
but
World Cup winner. You cannot dispute
and
that.
it's called
He
Mbappe has
scored.
scored. It's called 4 goals in 2 World Cup finals.
Yes, so you can't take anything away from him. I'm just putting
So
everybody's credentials
yeah,
out there. You look at Erling Haaland too. He has won a treble or amongst all of these three people.
yeah,
He's won a
yeah,
treble. He's unfortunately playing for a
and
national
is
team that doesn't have the same ceiling as either of the other two, but he still puts in numbers.
and is the
He's
only and is the only player on this list to have won a Champions League.
yes. So when you
Yeah,
think
so
about it,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
it's because I think I was thinking about it for a long time, and it's very I think there are no wrong answers. But for a Barcelona team that needs a striker next season, out of these three, who are you picking?
Oh, give me Harry,
Say
please. Give me Harry.
Harry Kane
Harry
right now.
Harry is the perfect
N-
guy for this Barcelona. He is the perfect
Okay,
guy for this Barcelona, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why.
you're not worried. You're not worried about his longevity,
No, give
age,
me
and all that.
Hurricane. Give me 2 seasons, and he's okay. I'm good with that. Yeah, give
Okay,
me 2 seasons.
interesting,
It will
interesting.
guarantee. It will guarantee that you stay on the top of anything. Literally, Hurricane, his combination play, his link up play. Just imagine Hurricane playing with the fluidity of a Yamal, Rafinha on the side, and then the
Yeah.
Femin or even Daniel Most at his back. Is no Hurricane every day.
Okay, that's good. Well, I think that will close our show. That will close our show for today. And again, thank you for joining me for this um,
For the
pre-match
for leg one
pre-match
of our
discussion.
of our
Yeah,
two,
I'll catch you. I'll catch you on Monday for the second leg discussions.
I can't wait.
And
I can't wait to tell you I
and
told you so.
yeah, and just to confirm, do you have any booked flights or any driving we're doing on that day? Just to know your
Um,
availability.
no, I'll be available until the game is over, and then right after the game I'll be on the drive, so but I can talk for sure.
So you're definitely going to be available for the next after for next week, Monday, Tuesday, either of those days you're going to be available. Because that's when we
Absolutely.
have I think okay, okay. So
Absolutely.
I want to get down the record
Yeah,
because
we'll be there to offload
they've
all the excitement from Sunday. I
because
will be there.
there've been some allegations made against you by somebody on this channel.
So
I don't
please
know who it is.
send it through to my legal team. I'm sure they're paid enough to handle that.
This apparently they discovered a pattern
Just
in
kindly
your
send it over to the legal team. My legal representative will be happy
they've
to
discovered a
answer
pattern
you.
that you seemingly always end up
Can you send the allegations
unavailable
straight to?
after certain Barca defeats. But I just need you to prove them wrong this time around. But
I,
again,
well,
thank you for joining me.
there's
And
no opportunity to prove them wrong this time. Maybe some other time. But we will be winning
okay,
we'll be
okay,
winning on
good,
On
okay.
Sundays El Clasico, and I'll be here to
I
tell
would
you I told you
say
so.
I would say good luck, but I don't always I don't have any good
By
thing
the
to
way,
wish
Rashford
Barcelona. So
scores, Femin scores on Sunday as well.
again, another interesting prediction, and it'll be interesting to revisit all this next week. So again, thank you for joining me. Have a good weekend and enjoy the game.
It's been a pleasure. Catch you guys soon. Take care.
Bye.